Hey traders, Akil Stokes here, and welcome back to another episode of the Trading Coach Podcast, the fastest growing Forex trading podcast out there. And that's all thanks to you guys. The support has been amazing each and every day. I swear I can't make this up. Each and every day I get a message either on the Twitter, Instagram, YouTube about newer traders finding this podcast and how it's just been kind of that missing piece that is gluing, or I guess bridging what they thought it took to be successful to the reality of what it really takes to be successful in trading. And that's just, it's outstanding. It's outstanding that we're able to do that on a regular basis. Obviously, I work with traders each and every day in a number of capacities, but for you guys out there that I don't work with on more of a personal basis, it's great to see that I can still have a big impact on your trading as well. That just means the world to me. So, keep sharing it. For you guys that are new, keep subscribing. We're up to episode, I think, almost 60 by now. So there's a lot of episodes for you to catch up on. And, just keep doing what you're doing. Keep supporting, and we'll keep growing this podcast into hopefully the best trading-related podcast and most popular trading-related podcast out there. Now, today, what I want to do is share with you another accountability session. If you guys haven't caught the last episode or the last time I did this, a few weeks ago, I shared with you an accountability session from a trader named Hassan. And our accountability sessions, these are private sessions that we do each and every week, each and every Friday with our Tier 1 trading members, where they have a chance to either come in and share their story, share their path of the path that they've taken so far in their trading, and really share their goals and their expectations, and put themselves out there so that they can be held accountable, right? Whenever you make your goals public, it adds a little bit more pressure, relief as well, but a little bit more pressure to actually sit in there and get the job done. And for newer traders that come in and observe, it's great because they get to hear different stories from different people, coming from all different starting places, and they can relate to that. They can say, hey, this guy sounds like me. Ooh, I did that exact same thing. And seeing that other traders are in the same situation as they are, or were in the same situation as they are, just gives them a little bit of a confidence boost, and it helps build a relationship. We have a chat on our platform where traders can reach out and talk to each other, but it's different in this internet world. It's different from just seeing a name and not knowing anything about them to really kind of having some background information about the person you're talking to, and it allows that relationship to blossom and just give you some buddies on that long and hard trading journey. So I'm going to share with you an episode today. It's from a trader named James. It's an excellent episode, and that's why I thought it was worth sharing. So check it out. And of course, if you guys are interested, the accountability sessions are part of our trial membership. We have a 14-day trial on our platform. So if you're interested in joining one, either sitting in or sharing your story as well, just sign up for that 14-day trial. Sign up under the accountability session. And, we'll see you in there, and I'd love to hear your story.
All right, so it's Friday, which means one thing. It's the accountability session, one of my favorite sessions of the week, because it is one of the most powerful things that you can do when you're learning anything, when you're trying to become better at anything. Coaches that we have coaches, the best athletes have coaches, the best golf players have coaches, and the best traders have coaches. And the reason they have coaches is because you aren't going to get there. It's very, very hard to do it on your own. You either need to be coached, or you need to be around people that are going to hold you accountable, and that's where Tier 1 offers both. So a great milestone for us this week, because I've got a couple of private clients, which I opened up a space for a couple of private clients at Christmas, and two of the private clients were James and Hassan. Now Hassan has, as you guys know, he was losing or sort of breaking even, struggling to earn money for about 2 years. And this guy was trading full time for 2 years, and he was around the break even mark, slowly bleeding, right? And the guy suffered from shiny object syndrome. He was the typical shiny object syndrome, chasing that next best thing. And he got twitchy. So although he knew what he was trading, he was doing it, but he was getting a bit twitchy, getting itchy feet and starting looking at other things, getting distracted, losing consistency. So I thought it'd be a great project, because one thing I saw in Hassan is the fact that he was very, very determined, very, very dedicated, right? So he had told his wife, I met him at an event, a network, entrepreneur network event a couple of years ago, and he stood there with his wife and he said, I owe it, I promise that I'm going to be successful at this. And he had a very supportive wife, Ezra, and I thought this guy deserves it. It's rare to find people with that determination. So with a bit of tweaking, I know that he can do it. So I'm working with Hassan. I've been working with him since January. And the first thing we did was just be completely open, raw and honest about how he was trading. Okay, so all the cards were on the table. There was nothing to hide. It wasn't, I did backtest, right? It was none of that stuff. I said the only way this is going to work is if we lay all the cards on the table and we're completely honest and we start from scratch. And it turns out that there was a few little things. One, that he was forcing trades that he wouldn't necessarily see in his backtesting, right? Two was he was trading patterns that he hadn't backtested, okay? And then three, his position size was too high, right? So imagine just correcting those three things. So anyway, we go down the line and make him backtest. Give him 3 months to sort of backtest all of the stuff that he's doing, all the strategies that he's doing, and then 3 months later, I say, well, what date are we going to put? What date are you going to come back to me with when it's all finished? And he says, I'll be by the 31st of May. I'll have everything done. And about a week before, he had all the backtesting done. And then what we made him do is fund a small account, and he went out and he's funding a small account, and I'm tracking every single trade that he's making. And the reason that he's funded a small account is so that he can concentrate on the process rather than the monetary value. So he's got to literally treat it as a business, knowing that he's not really getting a lot of money back. He's not getting a higher return on investment, but it will prove that he can do it. And the reason I'm going into this story, and I'll go into this story in a bit more detail next week, because guess what, he's in this session next week. But the reason I want to go into that briefly is because he wouldn't have been where he is now if he didn't have the accountability, right? He would have just carried on doing what he's doing. He wouldn't have had the accountability around him to, he would have had a choice, basically. And by having accountability, he doesn't have a choice. So it's as simple as that. So what these sessions are designed to do is to really sort of mine all of those issues inside the traders, or share with us their goals and what they're struggling with, what they're really finding easy, and then either sort of bring them down to earth or raise them up a bit and neutralize them, because the whole thing, we want to be neutral, right? And just before we go in, just to explain that, there is a positive and negative, right, to everything in life. And I mentioned this earlier when I put out a post on Instagram. I said, what your mistakes are someone else's wins. And what I mean by that is there's a positive and negative to everything, right? Now in trading, it's very, very hard to remain in this neutral zone, right? We get exhilarated when we have wins. We get depressed when we're on drawdowns, right? So, and it's the same for when we're learning as well. Sometimes we get a bit cocky, we find it a bit easy, and we think, oh, this is going to be easy, and then you're away with the fairies. And other times you're like, oh, I've really got to do all this testing. And then it's up to us to sort of neutralize the traders so that they remain level-headed and get from A to B as efficiently as possible without all these oscillations. So that is the great thing about these sessions. You've got the whole group dedicated to answering your questions, helping you, and give you any tips or advice, and just to hold you accountable for your story. So today we've got James Ingram. James, have you got Firefox loaded up? I think we arranged this prior, so should have Firefox ready to go. James Ingram, the man. And I'm not going to tell you about James. I'll just we'll get stuck in and we'll go from there. So James is ready to go. James, in a second you'll see an invite from me to listen to your mic. So if you just accept that.
Hello.
There we go. Here's James. Pretty good.
Can you hear me, Jason? Yeah.
Yes, I can hear you. Everyone here? Everyone here, James? Volume's pretty good. My end.
Is the level good? Yeah.
Yep, just speak close and speak into the mic, James, and I think we're all good to go.
Okay, sound.
All right. So, James, before we get into the crux of it, just tell us a bit about sort of who you are before trading. You know, what your position is, where you're from, and all the rest of it.
Yeah. My name's James. I'm from Luton in the United Kingdom. I've just turned 38 on Wednesday. I'm married. 3 kids. For the past 17 years, I've been involved in the building trade, and over the last 2.5 years, I've been a partner in a small building company.
Okay, so you've developed that from scratch, have you, or did you sort of partner up and? Oh right, okay. So it was an existing business. You've developed that with a business partner.
Yeah, that's it. My best mate of 20 years.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I've been talking to you about that business on the side as well, and we've been talking about different strategies, which is great. And that's doing really well. And so and how long was that ago? 2 years ago, did you say?
That was just over 2.5 years ago. We started doing that. Yeah.
So what? I know that you've been involved in trading for. Well, I met you in 2016 at the 10 event, didn't I? So you was already involved in some way.
Yeah.
What sort of? How did you get drawn into the trading route? How did you hear about it, and what made you attracted to it?
Yeah, my interest in the markets started about 3 years ago.
Right.
And a few things sort of led to that. A few things were going on in my head at the time. Obviously, construction, being in the building game, is very physically demanding. And I was working around a lot of people like in their 40s, 50s and 60s who had bad backs and other injuries due to wear and tear over the years, and I just got to thinking to myself, there's no way that I want to
wear and tear
like that. Yeah.
That's what me and Akil feel like.
Yeah. But some of these fellas that I've seen over the years, wow, they still shoveling at the age of 60, and just absolutely doing themselves in. Just it baffled me. Do you know what I mean? I got to a point and I just started thinking, I want to get to that age and I want to enjoy myself. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. So no more sort of manual labour at that age.
Yeah, that's it.
So how did you first sort of hear about it? How did you venture into it?
Yeah, well, actually, like, I started thinking about different possible careers. I watched a couple of films, one of which was Wolf of Wall Street, which obviously doesn't show a good side.
Which forex trading is everything like.
Well, exactly. Yeah. But the one the film that really turned my head was Pursuit of Happiness. After watching that film, I read Chris Gardner's autobiography.
Yep.
And which, if you haven't read it, I would highly recommend, because the film is actually only a 6-month portion of his life.
Sure.
Whereas obviously the book tells his whole story throughout his whole life, and for what that man went through in his life and to get where he got, was really inspiring for me. Do you know what I mean? Reading that. But yeah, so I read his book, and that was it for me. I wanted to be involved in the markets, but I didn't really know how, so I went Googling. So went on the internet, how to be a stockbroker, how to trade, how to this and that.
Yeah.
I started looking at like the usual get rich quick schemes, but I never actually got sucked into any of them.
No.
I was quite lucky in that respect. So I would always end up thinking to myself, well, if it was that easy, then I think everyone would be doing it. So that sort of
Yep.
held me back. Do you know what I mean? That's where my mind was sort of
Yep.
at that time. But then I came across a video by Jason Stapleton, who
Mm-hmm.
was selling the message.
Common
This is
theme
what you,
here, isn't it?
yeah, this is what to do. This is what needs to be done, and it's going to be a hell of a lot of work to get there. And for some reason, he sold me on it. So, I was hooked after that. I was watching the videos and, eventually signed up to the old company syndicate program,
Yep.
and eventually onto the 12-week transformation.
Sure.
So,
So, yeah, I mean, what you said about, getting rich quick, I mean, if anyone gets rich quick overnight, there's police involved, usually.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's not, it just doesn't exist. I mean, there's things that are easy that no one knows about, that anyone can do, and then there's things that are not easy, that look easy to do, and I advise everyone against those types of things, because it's just, you're going to end up wasting more time chasing those things than you are if you just knuckle down and get done. I mean, as I said with Hassan, Hassan, it's taken 3 months or 4 months as a transition where he's at now. But he said, "Oh, if only I did this 2 years ago. Where would I be now if I'd done this 2 years ago?" And I think that's a regret, and that's not a regret that I want. So I just want to do things properly, and just I know there's going to be hard work. It's just best to just get stuck into it.
Yeah, so, and Hassan's doing really well as well, isn't he? Like we're always
Really
messaging each other and
Yeah.
sort
Yeah.
of
So
asking each other how we're doing and that. So
in case you didn't catch it at the beginning, James is one of the private clients, and so is Hassan. James is also a full paid-up member for a year at Tier 1. Hassan isn't, and there's a reason for that, because I told Hassan not to join. I told Hassan not to join. Why do you guys think I told him not to join? If you listen to the to the beginning.
shiny object syndrome.
Exactly, right? So, whereas you've got a bit more sort of, and we're going to talk about your style and your sort of views on the future and everything in a minute, but he's definitely a bit more distracted than you. So I said, don't join the platform yet. Let's just get you profitable, and then you can get back in there. But he's great. So he's out on for a break in Amsterdam, checking his trades this weekend for his birthday.
Good
But
lad.
all right, so you then got the realistic sort of insight into actually there's a bit of work to do here, and you wasn't distracted by that, and that's probably because you are, you've built a business and you appreciate work and how money is actually earned, and you've kept that sort of realistic approach as well, haven't you? I mean, you haven't set yourself unrealistic goals. So when you joined over to Tier 1, what was your approach? What did you want to continue with? What was your path to get to where you wanted to be, knowing what you'd been told by Jason?
Yeah, so I think like coming towards the end of 2017, I wasn't really like set into the, like focused, really focused into like the trading side of things, into the back testing and all that. I was probably getting a bit distracted by things as well.
Yeah.
I it got to the end of 2017 and I was like, well, I need to prioritise into 2018. I think I need to get rid of this in my life, get rid of that in my life, and really try and make it happen. Do you know what I mean?
Wow. Yeah.
Um,
You cut the fat.
yeah, that's it. So, I stopped doing a couple of things. With work, I was trying a couple of things, which I stopped as well. I concentrated on other sides to the business, and yeah, so now, like leading into 2018, like the opportunity came up with you, which was like just was brilliant, absolutely amazing. Like when you know when you get an email like that, it's like, oh wow,
Yeah.
maybe this will really help,
Yeah.
move things along down the line. So yeah,
And the same with you. I'm holding you accountable for all the testing as well, right? So
yeah,
you're
that's
sending
it.
me weekly weekly spreadsheets.
Yeah, that's it. So I'm as I'm doing back testing, I'm sending it through. You're checking it over. I think I sent my rules through the other night of what I'm testing at the minute as well. So yeah, it's like
Yep.
you know, close, mentorship.
Excellent.
It's really helpful. I think it was about 2 months ago that I actually joined Tier 1.
Yeah.
I paid up for the
Yeah,
year.
you basically said, will I get value from being in that group? And I said, absolutely. You're at the
Yeah,
right time, so go in and you're. I mean, you've been in the live room every day. If you haven't been in there, you've been recording the sessions and watching it back. So, you're taking it very seriously anyway.
yeah, that's it. At the minute, it's hard for me to engage with work.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'm recording it. I'm watching it back later.
Yeah.
Um,
And that brings us on to the next bit, really, because you do have other commitments, and I know everyone listened to Tim go on about that. But
yeah,
you are treating it, you are adapting to that approach, though, aren't you? I mean, you're now, since I've been working with you, you've gone from lower time frames to now sort of you're testing on dailies, aren't you?
yeah, that's it. That's it. No, I think that was one of the biggest problems that I had. Like listening to Tim, it was like a
Light
switch went
bulb
off.
moment.
Yeah, it was like a switch went off, and I was like, that's what I'm doing. I had a period last year where I was trying to demo trade, and like I wasn't, it was just a few patterns, whatever. But
Yep.
I was trying to do it at work. I was trying to do it on my phone. I was trying to do it on the iPad, and like it was just ridiculous. And I was like, no, I can't do this. And then when I heard about Tim and a few other things it said about trading on the higher time frames, and you only need to look at it, once a night. Had a discussion with you as well, Jason. You
Yep.
said exactly the same thing. I was like, yeah, that absolutely makes sense. Why don't I just do that? It's like the,
Yeah.
the the simple answer is there. It's just right in front of your eyes. You just need to
Yeah.
realise it's there, don't you? So
Problem is that I think traders are. Akil touched us on this in his podcast as well, and it's particularly in the summer trading pod. It drives traders insane when they can't take trades. I think people get sort of itchy. They want to be involved. They want to be. They feel like, they feel like if they're not taking trades, they're not making money. And I think it always related to the whole sort of society, just how we've been bred. We go to work, we put in the hours, we make money, and the more hours we work, the more money we get, and it's as simple as that. But it just doesn't. It's just not true in trading. You can just adapt
yeah,
your system to to around your life, really. So I think it
yeah,
is just a case of just not being used to that style of or that way of going about your business, really.
yeah,
But then they soon realise, because consistency is what keeps you bleeding. Lack of consistency, I should say. Lack of consistency is what keeps you bleeding out of your account, because you'll miss a trade and maybe you'll just get in late, or you'll take profits too early, or whatever it is. You might be on the phone to a client or just having to finish something off, and your mind's in two places, and there's no way that you can trade consistently profitably that way. So yeah,
yeah,
absolutely. I advise anyone who's starting, who does have other commitments, try it and work on those higher time frames, particularly the 4 hour, at least the 4 hour. Most of mine and Akil's swing trade, it's all on the 4 hour. I think most of Akil's trades are on the 4 hour. I know he does the day trading in the live room, but most of his trades are based on the 4 hour, right, Akil? I think it's safe to say. He's probably cycling now while he's watching this, but always advise the higher time frames. But that's allowed you to sort of consistently backtest, because now you know that when you're logging these backtested results, you can actually be in front of your charts at those times to take the trades, right? And I think you're finding, I know you said to me that you've got Well, first of all, tell us about what style of trade you're looking at. You know, what type of trader is it? Is it patterns? Is it? I'll pretend I don't know.
Yeah.
Is it counter
Yeah.
trend, trend patterns?
So I'm at the minute I'm back testing trend continuation on the dailies,
Yep.
and I've also been testing ciphers on the 240s with entries only in the evenings.
There you
So
go. Evening
but,
entry, so you can just check. Yep. So you can come back from work and check in the evenings. Very profitable. Yeah. Yeah. So share with the group some of your insights into your test results, because everyone knows how I feel about the Aussie CAD. It's a great consolidation pair, not a great trend continuation pair. And tell everyone what you found on the testing, because I think you was getting one trade per year on each pair, was it?
generally, yeah. Generally about one trade per year. I've been testing 10 years of data.
Yep. And bear in mind, guys, this is James's rules, so he'll have some adaptation there as well. He may become a bit more aggressive or take some filters away, but he was finding about one trade per year on each pair. So he's testing multiple pairs. But what did you find on the Aussie CAD?
Yeah, on the Aussie CAD I went through 10 years in about 20 minutes, I think, and didn't find one trade.
I think that's really interesting. I think that's really interesting, because I've always said that pair just is so much more of a consolidating pair than the others.
Yeah.
We've had some decent trend continuation trades on that on the 60 this year, but yeah, it's just a consolidating.
That's obviously to my rules, which are quite conservative, I think, at the minute.
Yeah, of course.
I think I'll probably try and get a bit more aggressive down the line, but start conservative and then see from there. See where.
Yeah, no rush, no rush. So now you're part of Tier 1. What have you found helpful, the platform? Is there anything in particular you really enjoy, really sort of think, wow, this is helped?
Oh yeah, the community is really good. Like I said, I'm not engaged in during the day. I try to at weekends and evenings. Sometimes there's nobody in there, and I'm like, I'm on my own here. but I see, like me and Chris have had a few chats every now and again. A few other people, and that just helps massively. Like just because you've said it a load of times, Jason. It's not a regular thing for people in their lives. Like,
no,
I don't know one person who's into trading.
No.
I don't know
and
anyone,
it's difficult to talk
apart from anyone who's in here. And my family know that I'm doing it and I'm developing.
But they don't know anything about it either, do they?
They don't know anything about it.
It's not even like you could say, oh, I'm into tennis, and you have dinner on a Sunday and you've got some family who don't like tennis, but at least you can talk about tennis to them because they know what tennis is.
Yeah, that's it.
With trading, you can't, if someone isn't into it, you can't talk to them about it because it's literally, they just haven't got a clue. They think you're some kind of currency exchange booth. Change up my euros. Yeah, so it's like, it's so warped in their mind what we do that no one can possibly have a conversation about it, which makes it even more lonely.
That's it. I try and tell people, basically it's buying and selling. But that's what it is. You try and buy at a good price and you try and sell it at a good price.
Yeah.
So
I was telling the live room yesterday that one of my son came home from school, and obviously his friends come around and everything. They see me on the charts and see what I do. But my son came home from school the other day and he said, "Oh, my friend's dad said that you're a dodgy banker." I don't know if that's slang or he just sort of tried to explain in the nicest possible way what he thought that I did. But yeah, it's funny what you hear. Yeah. So you're now part of the group. You are continuing to backtest, swing trading time frames so that it suits your life. You're fitting your trading around your life, and then you're sort of working on your business. I know you're trying to work on sort of scaling your business up and eventually removing yourself from the business. Great. It's exactly what I had to do. It's exactly what Tim was doing. Many,
Yeah.
many other people as well. Um, what are your sort of, do you have any milestones? I know you're taking it very relaxed and you're being very realistic about it, but is there any sort of certain point you want to get to where, I know we've got our own accountability goals, like your back testing and everything, but um, is there any goals? Like, where do you want to be? Is there any
Yeah. So,
dates or times?
so short term, I'm looking to try and get a portfolio of about 8 to 10 pairs to start forward testing
Yep.
from the 1st of August.
Right.
And then
1st of
obviously
August.
carry on back testing in that time
Yep.
to try and build up the portfolio a bit more. But yeah, with a look to hopefully go live on January the 1st.
January the 1st.
2000,
Excellent. Yeah. So Jan 19.
yeah. I think
Excellent.
I was listening to Andrews last week. He's got exactly the same goal. I was like, oh, yeah. So
Very,
maybe we
very
could,
realistic. Very
yeah.
realistic. Great goal as well. And I know you're doing a lot of testing. Just share with us, if you've had any problems or strains relationship-wise. How's your family life been during that? Have you had any sort of struggles going through your testing? You got, because I know what it's like, right? You're always in your charts, and
Yeah,
your
that's it.
wife looks at you like gives you the evils.
Yeah. Oh
How
yeah.
how have you sort of overcome those sorts of things, or have you had any of that?
Definitely had some of that, yeah. I think at one point it was like every second I had the laptop open. I got to a point where I was like, yeah, maybe I have to try and balance it a little bit better. Do you know what I mean? Like, even though I want
Yep,
to get it
yep,
done,
balance.
I've got to set aside some time for those guys, because it's not fair on them. You know, what's the point in doing it if, you know,
No, I hate you by
if
the end of
if,
it.
if they hate me by the end of it? Exactly. So, it's I suppose it's all about balance. So
It is about balance.
I'm sort of, towing that line at the minute. So
Yeah,
yeah,
sure. But
it's okay.
I'm not prying into your life or anything. I just wanted people to hear that that is normal. You do
Yeah,
have
yeah, of
crashes. You
course.
are going to
Yeah,
hit
yeah,
those
no,
walls, and
I,
you're going to have struggles. And it's
I
just
don't.
about balance, as you say. It is. I mean, I've told the group, I told the live room, I literally got to a point where, because I was at home, I went from working in an office to working at home. And this is just how we've been brought up, right? So when you're out at work, you're out the house, you're out of sight, out of mind, right? So you're out in the workforce, you're a hero. You're just out working. Dad's at work, he's a hero. You start working from home, and all of a sudden, if you go in your office, you're choosing to be away from your family
Yeah,
instead. So instead of you're at work, you're at home, but you're in a room ignoring us. That's another challenge, right? So that's how it's seen. So in the end, it got so where people were it was so unstructured, where I'd just be hitting up the testing, or working on my trading. My kids was just walking around like zombies. They didn't know if they could come and talk to me, or my wife didn't know what to do. So we literally just put this calendar together, and we was like, right, Wednesday nights I'm going to do this, Thursday nights I'm going to do this, Saturday mornings I'm going to do this, and then Thursday I'm going to spend that time with you, Friday I'll read a book with you, Saturday we'll play a game, all this stuff. And although that seems regimented, it made everyone have like everyone just had clarity, and everyone knew that that was the time that we could spend with Dad. And I said it wasn't going to be forever, but this is how it needs to be. And it really, really helped. So if anyone is struggling with that,
yeah.
I recommend that sort of. I know it seems like extreme, but it works. Trust me.
That's it. Myself and my wife, we've done exactly the same thing actually. Like
Well, there you
we've said,
go.
right, yeah, we'll set this time aside for that. We'll do
Yep.
that, and then like Saturday morning, I'll go into the office and like work up until 12 o'clock, and then come home, go out in the afternoon.
Yep.
Stuff
It's,
like
it's,
that.
if you know, you've got clarity, right? So it's the uncertainty that people hate. We're not wired to deal with uncertainty, so we
Yeah,
just like to know what's going on. And I said in the goal setting session, it's a good idea. Grab a calendar and just literally take the calendar and book the date nights and book the weekends away, or book all that stuff in. Book a week away with your kids or whatever, and then if that's up on the wall, the family can look at it and they go, oh, look, it's only 2 weeks until we've got this time or that time, or, 3 weeks till we go to the cinema, or, that kind of thing. And
Yeah.
it just makes everyone in the family a bit more calm because they're not sort of, what's going on? You know, you're always in there. And this sounds weird to most people, but I think everyone in this room gets it. I think everyone in this room gets it.
Yeah.
So,
Absolutely.
so yeah, so that's your short-term goal is by 1st of August you'll have some a portfolio, and then by the 1st of January 2019,
Yeah.
you will be ready to go.
Hopefully. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, no. I will. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, is there any questions? Anything that anyone else would like to ask James from the room? And if you're watching this late, you can also type questions below this video, and James can go and check it and answer questions below the video as well. But if you've got any questions for James, let us know. Taylor says, something you would tell your 20-year-old self. Wow.
My 20-year-old self.
There's a question. One thing?
One thing, do what I'm doing now.
Oh,
Basically,
there you
yeah.
go. Start
Yeah.
earlier.
Start earlier. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
Without
same.
doubt.
What's your biggest struggle, Gabriel says?
My biggest struggle, what with
Biggest
trading
struggle point.
or with life in general?
God, I'd keep it to trading.
With trading.
Who knows what Gabriel will come back with. Yeah, trading. There you go.
Trading related. Biggest struggle. Ooh. Yeah, just prioritizing the time and
Yep, time.
and clarity and making sure I'm focused. But definitely focus is like a big part of it, and getting a plan together so that you know what you're doing and the steps that you need to get where you want to be.
Yep. Chris says, do you prefer trend trading or ciphers, and why? So, although you're not trading at the moment, what do you prefer and why?
Ciphers are easier
Yep.
to sort of identify and definitely to backtest. Trend trading definitely takes a bit more brain power to, you need to think a lot about where you are and what's happening in the market. You need to look at, higher time frames and trading time frames. So, but I do quite enjoy the trend trading.
Yep.
At the minute.
I think higher time frame trending and the 4-hour ciphers. I think it's a really nice combination. It complements each other well, because if you think about the cipher pattern, what happens at the end of a trend? Well, you create a cipher pattern, right? So it really does complement very well. It's not like one's going to be affecting the other, one's going to be you're going to be missing out. And if people are wondering what the heck I'm talking about, if I just bring on the pen here, what I'm talking about is if you're trend trading, you're looking for these moves here, right? And if you are trading ciphers, well, then this happens. So your trend trades stop, and then you hit the cipher. Excuse my wiggly lines, but that's why it complements very nicely, because it's a reversal. It's a rotation. So very, very nice.
Yeah.
Any other questions for James before we let him go? I'm gonna mention, James, are you gonna grab yourself a ticket for the event, which I'm just gonna G everyone up for in a sec.
Definitely.
Yeah. Any other questions for James? How can we help the best? Gabriel says.
How can we help the best? Well, yeah, just by keep prodding me about dates and and goals and that. So what I'm going to do actually, before I do start forward testing, I think I might come back on, and
excellent,
because obviously I'm going to need to put a trade plan together. So I might come back on, put my trade plan up, and everyone can dissect that.
Definitely, that's really good. Yeah, so James is making the most of the accountability, and I say this to everyone, right? You don't just have to come on once. You can come on, keep coming on. Like, honestly, if you've got any questions, this section can be dedicated to helping you with a problem, And if you've got a bad trade that you took, or even if you took a trade and it didn't work out how you thought, but it was a good trade, come on and talk us through it. Talk us through it. The next level is not just introducing yourself, but the next level is actually talking us through your trades, because you've probably never done that. You've probably never ever done that. You're going through it in your mind, but you're not teaching others. So what you're not getting is people asking you questions. Why? Why? What was your decision to do that? Why did you do that? Well, what are you looking at here? And it really forces you to be extremely objective, and you'll notice that there's things missing. There's things missing from your plan that you haven't got in place, and you need answers to, so you can go away and do that. So
yeah, that's definitely one thing I'm finding is when I think I've got enough detail, no, I haven't. I need more detail, because there's certain things that happen that you look at and you go, actually, maybe I need to write a rule about that. And
absolutely. So James, just before I cut you off, mate, have you got any advice for anyone who's new, who's brand new, who's just coming in for the first time?
yeah, dedicate yourself to the back testing. Vitally important. but make sure that you you're set on what you're doing. Don't just flitter about in it like I did last year and the year before.
Yeah, don't dabble and just immerse yourself.
Yeah, that's it. It can't be done bit by bit. You've got to be in it as much as possible, because you might do a little bit and then you come back to it and you go, oh, where was I? What was I doing there? And
absolutely.
Absolutely. And like, well, one of the goals for myself is to be involved in the community more. I would, advise that as well. Like, as I go on towards the end of the year, towards the end of the year, towards the end of the year, I'm gonna try and get myself off the tools at work and more office based. So at that point, I might be able to start transitioning a little bit into, being more involved and that side of things. So, if people can get involved, I'd recommend that as much as possible.
Excellent. The point is you've got a plan. You know where you're aiming to go. So as long as you're working towards that every day, you will get there eventually. Like, that's just maths. It doesn't not happen. If you keep going, you'll get to the end. There's no yes or no. You just will. How long it takes is up to you. So really enjoyed listening to that, James. Thanks for coming on. This is your first session. I hope you're going to come on many more times. I'm going to shut your microphone off. So before I go, have a great weekend.
You too, mate.
All right.
And everyone else, have a good weekend.
Thanks, James. All right. So that was James Ingram. Great story. But late 30s, mid to late 30s. Sorry, James. Kids, right? Average guy, business owner. If there's anyone else like James, connect with him in the group. Connect with him. Talk about how he's handling certain situations. That's what this is all about. And just before we head off, I mentioned an event. All I'm going to say is make sure you check your emails in the next week or so, because there's going to be an event announcement for a huge event in December, and we are signaling for people with interest to put them at the front of the queue for when the tickets go on sale, because there are very limited tickets. So keep your eyes on your inbox, your clutter. You'll see it on some social, on the Facebook page as well, but just keep your eyes peeled, because as soon as you put your name down, you'll get added to the front of the queue and you'll get first refusal when the actual tickets go on sale. So it's going to be massively oversubscribed. It's going to be massively popular. So very limited tickets. So just don't say I didn't warn you. Just keep your eyes peeled for that. Gabriel says I'm like 10.